3, 2, 1.
Boom! And welcome to today on the Big Honker podcast, brought to you by Boss Shot Shells. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver.
Yes. Happy to be here today. April the 9th.
Kicking this month right in the ass.
I'm telling you, quarter of the way done with April.
Yeah, just about. I had to think for a minute.
Jeff,
We are.
with math, never double check me.
I never check. Actually,
Never.
we're almost a third done.
Well, yes.
If we want to get into
if you want to get to the nitty
We're
gritty,
get technical here.
I said about. Don't double check my math. It's there.
Okay, what happened on April 9th?
A lot of stuff. Oh,
You've got the 9th.
shit. I'm sorry. I thought we were doing the 10th.
I can the 10th ready. I can do the 10th ready.
April 10th. April 10th.
What about the 9th? We've lost it.
Yeah, it was a forgotten day.
Okay, so we're on April 10th now.
Yeah.
Okay. April 10th, the most memorable day in my entire life.
I know where you're going.
More than Christmas, more than the birth of a child, more than getting married. Not that I don't love those more, but this is a day. This is my December 7th, 1941. This is my Pearl Harbor day.
This is your Pearl Harbor, yeah.
I was 11 years old on April 10th.
Reese's age.
Yes. And my dad took me and Tony fishing to a place called Shoshone Park, which is south of Wichita Falls at Lake Arrowhead. And it was a cloudy day, not real warm. Cloudy day. I'm guessing probably 65 degrees that morning.
It's gonna be 65 tomorrow, Jeff.
And so it was not a really warm day that day. That morning we went fishing for a little bit. Didn't really catch a lot of fish. They had a chance of thunderstorms. Came back to Wichita Falls. My mom and dad were divorced. My dad lived about 4 miles away from us. And we went to our house, and we got there about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And the storms were building west of us. You could see it was dark to the west towards Seymour and stuff. And had a kid named Mitchell that lived across the street. And everybody was outside his yard, and we were out there talking and stuff. And this is the conversation we had. And to this, everything about this day I remember so vividly. Man, wish tornado hit our school. We wouldn't have to go to school again for a while.
Careful what
Man,
you
wish
wish
we'd have a
for.
tornado hit the school. That'd be awesome, man. Can you imagine if a tornado hit, man? That's all we talked about. Well, about 5:55, neighbor hollered, "What the hell? Look at that, look at that, look at that." And everybody started looking, and you could see to the west. And it looked like a thunderstorm. Like when you see a thunderstorm way off the rain shaft,
Yeah.
that's what it looked like. And the tornado sirens went off. And I ran through our living room, and it was right at 6 something. So it was like 6:01, 6:02, because Rich Siegel, the weather guy, was on the TV, and he said, there's a tornado on the ground in Ponderosa Estates, which is right west of Wichita Falls, about 5 to 6 miles by Holiday. On the ground coming into Wichita Falls, you need to take cover immediately. Sirens were going. TV went. All the electricity went out. There's some main transmission lines by the football stadium there. Wiped them out. Got in the backyard. We had a Shetland pony, and we had a little barn kind of thing with a flat roof on it. It was kind of my clubhouse and shit too, is what it was. It's what we transformed it into. My dad got up on top of it, and he had this old Kodak camera, and he was taking these pictures. I'll never forget this.
The wind up?
An old Kodak camera. You took not like one of them instant cameras, just kind of cranked them, just old Polaroid, not a 35 millimeter, just cheap cameras, whatever they had. He's standing there taking pictures of it, and it's coming right down Southwest Parkway in Wichita Falls, coming right towards our house. My mom's screaming and stuff. She gets in the closet with Tony. Tony is 7 years old. I'm 10 years old. Tony was 8 probably. Tony was 8. Tony was 8. I was 10. And my mom and Tony get there. I stayed out back with my dad. I'm sitting on that. Dad's sitting on the barn. He goes, untie the horse, so he's got a fair chance to get away if something happens. So I untied the horse. I'm trying to crawl on. Dad said, "Don't get out here. There's a United store that is probably a half mile away from us." And all of a sudden, that sign, United's a grocery store, crumbles to the ground. And Dad said, "You get your ass in that closet now." And
Were you arguing?
No.
Because I could see my son.
No, I didn't debate with this
Arguing.
one. I was scared.
Oh.
The ground. Now, I chase tornadoes. I've been around a bunch of tornadoes. That tornado was big. It was the size of Moore, Oklahoma. It was the most expensive and most destructive tornado in the history of the United States until the Moore tornado hit. The ground was shaking. You could sound like a train coming at you. It was just as loud, chaotic as you can get. We had a push lawn mower, and that mower went across the yard by itself. And I got in the closet, and I remember my mom was holding the cat and Tony, and had pillows in there, and I crawled in there. I did not grow up in a real religious family. We believed in God and went to church sometimes, but that old saying, you can't find an atheist in a foxhole, a lot of praying in that closet. My dad was a big, big, big man. I didn't realize how big a man my dad was till I got older. And he got in that closet, and he got in there, and he had his arms around us and holding everybody, and you could still hear glass breaking. And my mom's crying, and she's like, oh, my God, my house is gone. My house is gone. And my dad opened the closet, and he walked to the front door, and he said, Christine, come here. Well, my mom, keyed my mom, Jeff's right behind. We walked out on our front porch, and the tornado was about a half a mile north of me. And it was cutting across, and you could just see it plain as day. Went across there, and Dad said, boy, there's a lot of good people, lost a lot. He's a lot of friends of ours have lost a lot of stuff. Well, anyways, it wiped out Wichita Falls, cut a 2.5 mile swath right through town. 45 people died. Now, out of those 45 people that died, and I think the actual death toll was around 70, but I just got some stats this morning on it. 26 people died in their car. Out of the 26 people that died in their car, 11 of them left their house to outrun the tornado. 11 of those people that died in them cars that outran that tornado, their houses didn't even get hit.
Oof. That's awful.
You don't get in a car. That is the worst place you can get. And I've talked about this. These people that's got these above ground shelters, it just takes one car getting thrown into that to kill everybody inside of that thing too. There's a clinic that was about a mile from my house. And at that clinic by my house is where a big portion of those people died in cars. 1 mile. My elementary school knocked the roof off, picked the roof up and set it back down, blew all the windows and stuff out. I had to go to school the last 4 weeks or 5 weeks of school. We had boarded up windows. We didn't have air conditioners. We didn't have any kind of meals at the cafeteria. It was all completely gone. We went to school in the morning, and then the other elementary by me, McGahey, which was another mile or two from my elementary school, it was rubble. The kids there went in the afternoon. So we went to school in the morning. Those kids went to afternoon. Wichita Falls High, where I graduated from, it didn't have any damage. Ryder High School was completely leveled. So those kids went to school half a day at Wichita Falls, at my high school, while the old high kids went the mornings. McNeil Junior High, which had F4 winds, so their winds were 200 plus miles an hour. It was completely wiped out. There was nothing left. I think there was 5 or 6 schools in Wichita Falls completely wiped out. The thing that saved Wichita Falls from being probably the deadliest tornado ever was the fact that we did not have school. We were on Easter break.
Oh, okay, cool.
And our YMCA, which was our kid baseball, like Little League that year, they designated no one could practice baseball that week.
Because of the holiday?
Because of Easter break, no school, no baseball, no nothing. So we weren't allowed to practice baseball. Or at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, back in the 70s, kids all played baseball. Every elementary would have had 2 or 3 baseball practices going at the time. It hadn't rained. So It's not like you'd have canceled it for rain. It was dry.
Yeah.
So every one of us kids, and back then it's not like today. When you went to a kid baseball practice when I was a kid, there was a coach there and maybe one parent. Parents didn't go practice like they do now.
Right.
The kids would just walk or ride in the back of a pickup and everybody would go, and that was the normal thing. So there would have been one coach, or let's say at my elementary with 4 different types of baseball teams practicing, there would have been 45 to 50 kids, probably maybe 60 kids, and there would have been 6 adults. And a lot of those kids would walk home. The boys club I went to got completely flattened. It was closed that time, thank God. So that was a big break that had happened at Easter break, but it was a terrible day. I listened to when I went to bed that night, you could hear the helicopters come in sometime like, we went to bed at 6 o'clock, the tornado hit. It was dark at 8:30. My dad went and checked on his house. He figured we just bought a brand new boat. He said, my boat's going to be through the house. On his way there There was a guy laying in the ditch, and a lady was hollering, "My husband's dead, my husband's dead." This guy comes running up to check her husband, grabbed his, stole his watch, and ran off. And my dad came back to the house, him and Tony come back to the house, and he told my mom, he said, "I need all the blankets you have extra." And she gave him a bunch of old blankets we had. One of them was an old nasty-ass Navy blanket. My grandpa had wool. It was uncomfortable. Anyways, took them, and he said, "I'll see you." Then we didn't see my dad for 5 days. They worked 24/7, going back and checking on people. It was a bad, bad day. But that night, when I went to bed, we listened to the radio. We had old transistor radio, and all they talked about was some lady named Bunny. I'll never forget this. Bunny, if you're akin to Bunny, whatever her last name is, please come to Wichita General Hospital, to the General Hospital. She's ready to be discharged. If your family, they kept saying her name, and that name I'll never forget. But they would come names. If you have family members here, please come pick these people up. It was a horrible, horrible day. Woke up middle of the night, was helicopters there. Woke up that morning and sounded like I was in Vietnam. There was National Guard helicopters all over the place. You couldn't go anywhere. Now, or we would go during the day. They had curfews at night. Right. National Guards killed a guy.
Yeah.
Ran through a deal. They shot him right in his back, I guess. But we would have curfews. As a kid, man, it was great. We'd get on our bikes, we'd ride, and the Starvation Army had all these tents set up. We'd go get Coke, sandwiches, and go ride everywhere else. But it looked like Hiroshima. Mm-hmm. There was nothing left. I mean, the neighborhood about a half mile from me was just completely gone. And luckily, Wichita Falls had gotten hit by a bad tornado in 1964, and they had a really good weather network then. They were prepared for it. So they had a really good advanced warnings. They warned everybody. The sirens were there. We had drills at school all the time. We were prepared for that. Now, we weren't in school, but people were tornado aware back then. But I'm telling you, after April 10th, 1979, on April 15th, 1979, if it had lightning or thunder for the next 3 or 4 years, people wouldn't do shit. They stayed home by the cellar. Everybody was gun shy. But anyways, that's my day that I'll never, ever forget.
Do you think of technology like it is today, would there have been more warnings?
No. The tornado dropped it didn't drop.
But you said it wasn't a tornado day.
It was a big tornado day.
Oh.
It was a huge day. That day had 15 tornadoes or something. There was 2 F4 tornadoes.
Before it got to Wichita Falls?
There was a tornado that hit Vernon.
Tornadoes in the system?
Vernon got hit about 4 o'clock.
Right.
My next door neighbor was a meat inspector for the USDA, Mr. Tinsley, really nice older guy. His best friend and coworker was working at Vernon at their meat deal, and he was in a motel, and he got killed. And he come home and told his wife. He just found that out. So, yeah, it was a tornado day. The tornado that hit Wichita Falls was on the ground for 46 miles. Started on the other side of Wichita Falls, went clear up into Oklahoma. Lawton, Oklahoma had an F3 tornado the same day. Seymour had a tornado. Vernon had a tornado. There was a tornado at Kroll that day. So they'd had tornadoes.
So y'all knew tornadoes were in the system.
Yeah. It wasn't like today. Today, that looking back on some weather things I've watched and the dynamics of that storm, if that storm would be today, the advanced warning, they would have canceled school. People would have been aware, but I don't think it would have made, when you take a tornado that big, goes through a swath of a big city, you're gonna have it would be worse today because of all the Section 8 apartments they have in Wichita Falls along that path that they used to not have.
Right.
You know, not judging anybody, but a lot of low-income people in apartments don't pay attention to the weather.
Right.
And so there's a lot more apartments right through there. Your mother-in-law, her apartment was totaled during that tornado.
It was.
It was a bad deal. Everybody in Wichita Falls that grew up that time, that's a day we will never, ever, ever forget. And like I said, that is my Pearl Harbor Day. That I can remember every detail from everything, and for a couple of days. It's a pretty sad day. And yeah. I lost a friend that day, and a lot of people lost friends that day.
Sure.
So anyways, that's my thing that happened on April 10th. Now, my person that was born on April 10th is one of the most famous football people of all time. That's not a player.
Colin Cowherd.
Nope.
No, I'm sorry. Chris Collinsworth.
No, that he played football. This guy.
Oh,
no.
Al Michaels.
Not known for his football playing.
He's the best known, but he's not known for his football playing.
Everybody knows him. His name. Everybody.
Give me an era. Give me an era.
So 1970 to 20 something when he died. He died in 2021.
I tap out.
Now, he also holds the highest winning percentage among NFL head coaches who coached at least 100 games.
Lombardi.
Nope.
He didn't die in 2020.
He was a color commentator for NFL telecast.
Madden.
Yes.
John Madden.
Is there a man that is more famous than John Madden?
No, and it's all because of the video game.
Bingo. Best thing he ever did. John Madden was a good coach. I remember as a kid when he was a coach at Oakland. Yes, he was a good coach at Oakland, had players. But everybody remembers him as an announcer. He was a great announcer. Down and dirty, the Hogs. I mean, he loved all that stuff. Anyways.
He was the Donald Trump before with the orange hair, and his shit didn't quite match.
He played one year of football in college at San Mateo before he was given a football scholarship to the University of Oregon, studying pre-law and playing football with childhood friend John Robinson. John Robinson was a famous coach of USC. He was redshirted because of a knee injury and had a knee operation. Then he attended the College of San Mateo, then Grace Harbor College, playing the fall of '56 before transferring to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, where he played both offense and defense. And in '58, while earning a Bachelor's of Science in Education and then a Master of Arts in Education '61, Madden's senior research project at Cal Poly focused on the use of weights to increase strides and speed in athletic training. He won first-team All-Conference honors as an offensive tackle in his debut season at Cal Poly. He was a catcher on the baseball team. He was selected by the UPI for Little All-Coast second-team accolades following his junior season in '57. During the '57 season, Madden caught a pass from future fellow Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee Bobby Beathard, who was the general manager of the Washington Redskins at one time. Madden was drafted in the 21st round by the Philadelphia Eagles in '58. Before his senior season, his senior year, which he saw Madden regularly start on the left side of the offensive line, was cut short due to a season-ending collarbone injury suffered while making a tackle against Long Beach State. However, on January 3rd, '59, Madden played in the All-American Bowl in Tucson, Arizona, and was later praised by Lou Pavlovich of the Sporting News for his play in the showcase. Madden was hired by Al Davis as a linebackers coach in 1967, putting him in the Sid Gilman coaching tree. He helped the team reach a Super Bowl II that season, a year later after Raider head coach John Roush resigned to take the same position as the Buffalo Bills. Madden was named the Raiders head coach on February '69, becoming at the age of 32, the NFL's youngest head coach at the time. Madden's first Raiders went 12-1-1, but lost to Kansas City 17-17 in the last AFC championship. One of the most frustrating playoff defeats came in 1972. You remember what happened that year?
That the Immaculate Reception?
Yep. They're winning the ball game 7-6. The game is over. It's fourth and forever.
Boy, I bet football sucked back then.
Terry Bradshaw chunks. It was a different game. Terry Bradshaw throws the ball. It gets deflected. I think Franco off of John Stallworth. Franco Harris grabs it at the shoestrings, takes it in, and the Pittsburgh won and went on to win 4 Super Bowls after that.
Look at those eyebrows of Madden.
Anyways, he
got to do better.
Now, John Madden made his money. He became a sportscaster, and he was damn good, and he was the highest paid one. It made a lot of money. In 2002, Madden became a commentator on ABC's Monday Night Football. You know what they paid him in 2002 to do that for a year?
I'm going to say $1.5 million.
$5 million a year.
Wow.
Is what he was making on Monday Night Football.
Wow.
Then Madden became in the video games.
Yeah.
How much money do you think he made in the video games?
Like total?
Yeah, they're still making killing on it.
Yeah. I couldn't even guess.
I read a deal not long ago.
Like, I don't know about
I read $150 million is what kind of money that they've made off of the Madden. Because everybody, I don't play it, but my grandkids do.
Yeah.
I paid for it. Yeah. We've got one on our deal, and you got one at yours, don't you?
Yeah.
Now, you know what he was known for besides this? You know what his phobia was?
Flying.
He did not like to fly. So they had the Madden bus.
Drove his bus everywhere.
On Thanksgiving Day, they have the Madden turkey with like 12 turkey legs they do.
The turducken, I think.
The turducken and all that stuff. Anyways, John Madden made the world a lot better place. Good fan and a great coach. And I was fortunate enough to grow up in that generation where I watched him coach and watched him become an announcer and probably had the first Madden. How many years have they done that?
Since the 80s.
Anyways,
that's 90s.
That is my person that was born, and he was a great dude. My guy who died on April 10th, 1992. If you're my age, you remember, say it, from a movie with Mr. Rodney Dangerfield called Back to School. Mm-hmm. Rodney Dangerfield is in the class, and he's talking about he's in a class, and the professor starts talking about Vietnam. Because I was up to my eyeballs with Charlie and the rice paddies. When pussies like you were sitting at home, doing nothing, having parades, but not me. Say it. Sam Kinison. Born December 8th, 1953, died April 10th, 1992 in a car accident.
Oh, wow. I thought he died of something else.
Well, I'm sure he was probably on something when he died. But anyways, he in May of 88, his youngest brother, Kevin, shot himself, which devastated Sam. Kinison acquired much of his materials from his first two marriages to Patricia Atkins and Terry Marza. He began a relationship with dancer Malika Sorori towards the end of his marriage with Marza. So anyways, he was in all kinds of trouble. He had he raped somebody supposedly. They never got off of it. He joined an Alcoholics Anonymous. He hung out with all kinds of rock people all the time. Him and Slash were big buddies. Slash says that Kinison nearly choked him to death before Slash's bandmate Duff intervened. Slash and Kagan declined charges. He got in a big fight with Guns N' Roses. He dated the girl that was Jessica Hahn was her name. And she was a big thing. It was a big sex politician, comedian type stuff. But anyways, I was a big fan of Sam Kinison's. I thought he was really cool. He was a different kind of guy, but he was a good comedian. Anyways, he is the person who died on April 10th, 1992. I've taken up a lot more time than I normally do. But anyways, April 10th is a day that I will never forget. When they put me in the ground, if I had my last words and you said, what day do you will always remember, it will be April 10th.
Remember April 10th.
Yep. So I think that's where my fascinations with tornadoes probably started. And I was scared to death of them for a couple of years after that. That was something you don't forget.
Rightfully so.
All right. Thank y'all for listening to us. God bless you and have a great week.
Watch for deer.